Am I the asshole for telling my SIL that I won't be watching their kids? I 26M and my 29 SIL tend to buy heads on a norm. We have different views on life and don't get along. About 3 days ago my SIL asked if I would take some time off and watch her and my brother's kids. I told her no. That I have to work and don't have much time saved up just to travel across states just to watch my nephews. She blew up and started cussing me out, saying how I was ruining their vacation. I snapped back, say I have no obligation to take care of 2 kids that aren't mine and that are 4 states away. It would have been a 16-hour drive. She started to escalate the situation and started telling lies to the family about how I was call her a bad mom. This caused many people from both sides of the family to call and start cussing me out before I told them what happened with screenshots of text messages between us. My brother called me, explained what was going on. Her and my brother were going on a week-long trip to Florida to see some friends and family they haven't seen in a while. Many of the family in our home state said they were too busy and I was the only one available. My brother apologized for her but said I was out of line for calling her bad mom. I told him I never called her that. I then sent some screenshots. He apologized and said he would handle it. Now yesterday I get a phone call asking when I was picking up my nephews from the airport. I did miss my nephews but am constantly busy with very little time off due to recently starting my job. I was flabbergasted when I got the phone call and asked why they were here. My brother said they're staying with our aunt in the town over but her car wasn't working. He said my SIL said she texted me about it. I told him no she didn't and that I was on my way to work. He asked me if I could pick them up. I told him I would but they would be there for about an hour and a half due to how far my work was to the airport. He said that should be fine due to them landing yet. I called my boss and explained what was going on. He let me have the day off and told me not to worry about putting time in. When I got to the airport and waited for my nephews I got a call from SIL who was pissed, asked why I wasn't at the airport. I told her I was in the pickup area. She started to rage at me before I hung up and called the oldest of the 2 boys asking where they were at. They said the terminal and they were heading to pickup area. I told him what I drive and the color. They both found me and got in the car before I started heading to my aunt's house. When I got there my aunt apologized to me profusely. I said my goodbyes and got everyone food before getting back and handing it off. Am I the asshole for not taking time off to watch my nephews? Update. Thanks for the response everyone. Help me make a plan for what I need to do. I have started the process of blocking my SIL and have told my brother my thoughts on the matter. He understands and said he is incredibly upset with it all. He apologized to me and said they're getting on flight to my state to get the boys tomorrow. He and my SIL are also being set up for marriage counseling. He has no idea why she is like this now after being married for as long as they have. If that fails they're going to be getting a divorce. Not the asshole. Given your SIL's poor treatment of you, I recommend that you block her everywhere. Your brother and nephews can contact you for anything, but block your SIL. Not the asshole. You should really call CPS on their entitled asses. You aren't the only one available, because you aren't available. Entitled to expect you to take time off work to babysit and then abuse you when you say no. You should have refused to even go to the airport. Not the asshole. Weird is an understatement. Not you children. Not your responsibility to take time off so you SIL can take a vacation. They were visiting family. No reason their kids couldn't go along. Sis is an a-hole. Am I the asshole for starting a fight with my wife over leftovers? I, 33M. Kind of started a fight at my wife, 30F, over her wasting food. She and I had very different upbringings when it came to food. Her family had the disposable income to eat out multiple times per month, and her family would cook large meals, enough to feed an army basically, and when the food entered leftover territory, the rule in their house was whoever gets to it first gets to it. My family was much more money-minded, only eating out on special occasions and cooking just enough for 1 or 2 meals. Takeout was never shared, and if we had leftovers, it was equally distributed. Some would be surprised to learn this has caused a great deal of dispute in our marriage. My wife does the majority of the cooking, and she likes to order takein a lot, as we both have demanding jobs. Over our 10-year relationship, she has learned to cook in much smaller helpings as much of it would spoil. She's not good about eating leftovers, the smell of a lot of cold food makes her feel sick. So she tries to meal prep or cook just enough to cover 2 meals max as she knows letting food spoil irks me. When we have leftovers, I always let her know when her portion is still in the fridge. Typically she tells me to have it if I want it. She has said before that if she were truly coming back for it, she'd write her name on it or tell me not to eat it as she was saving it for later, but to my recollection she has never done that. I always tell her that the leftovers are hers so she can have them, and we go back and forth like that in several rounds. The other night, we had leftover Chinese takeout, her leftovers, I ate mine. She asked me what I wanted her to cook for dinner and I reminded her that she has her leftovers. She said, "Oh yeah, hand it here." So I gave her the container and I watched her dump it straight into the trash without looking at it. Wide-eyed, I asked her, "What are you doing?" She proceeds to inform me that she has come up with a new system. If she tells me 3 times that I can eat her leftovers because she does not intend to come back for them, she will throw it out before it spoils. Apparently that was the 4th time I reminded her about the leftovers, so that triggered the disposal. I got quiet to process the fact that she made this decision without talking to me about it, and finally I said she could have told me she was going to throw it out, then I would have eaten it. She firmly thinks that the statute of limitations expired as she told me 3 times I could have them, and she could do with them what she sees fit. I would have if I had known she'd toss them instead of conceding and eating them after understanding I truly didn't mind her eating them herself. I feel like she truly hasn't listened to, disregarded me feelings, upbringing with food. I told her, "Do you?" and haven't really talked to her since. So, am I the asshole? TLDR, my wife has decided to throw away leftovers after she offers them to me 3 times and I don't like wasting food. I'm gonna point something out. If you've had leftovers long enough to be offered them 3 times, nobody should be eating that. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. I don't understand why you think your upbringing means she has to eat leftovers she doesn't want. Why is your upbringing the most important? Maybe because of her upbringing you should stop assigning her leftovers. There isn't even a lack of communication here. There has been you ignoring her when she outright told you multiple times you should eat her share of the leftovers. You are the asshole. Your upbringing influences you, but you need to stop letting it define you. You are the asshole. This is a very petty thing to fight about. Just suck it up and move on. You are the asshole. You wanted her to concede to eat them, and eat her own because you're controlling. If you've reminded her repeatedly and she said she doesn't want it, it's you wasting food. You can eat it, wear it, or leave her alone as she throws it away. Am I the asshole for calling the C word to my FSIL after she tried to gain sympathy with my miscarriage? I'm sorry if this seems all over the place. I just so mad that everyone is siding with her. My future sister-in-law, Ella, 30F, is your typical annoyingly bubbly girl. She is always happy and smiling, caring and compassionate. My brother, 37M, is foolishly in love with her, and it seems like the rest of my family is wrapped around her finger. My brother and I, 34F, grew up very close. When we were 10 and 7 years old, our father passed away, and our mother, 69F, struggled as a single mother until she met our stepfather, 65M, who is truly an amazing person. They had our little brother, 28M, who happens to be Ella's best friend and the reason she met our brother. 28 days ago, my husband, Mark, 34M, and I tragically lost our pregnancy at 22 weeks. It was devastating then, and it still is. I haven't been ready to talk to my therapist about it yet. This was our first pregnancy that progressed this far, so we were filled with hope. Since the loss, I made it clear that I didn't want to talk to anyone and that I didn't want any visits. However, Ella keeps sending deliveries of food every now and then with stupid-ass messages like, "You are cared for," and, "We're here for you, thinking of you." It infuriates me to hear Mark commenting on how nice and thoughtful she is. Last night, she asked me if she could come over with my mom and my brothers to quickly discuss something about their wedding. She apologized, saying she knew it wasn't the right time, but the wedding is only a month away, and this conversation couldn't be delayed any longer. In essence, Ella wants to postpone the wedding for another 6 months. It is a small affair hosted at a friend's place, and since she briefly explained the situation, the vendors are willing to change the date at a minimal cost. To paraphrase her, she said, "I don't feel this is the best time to have a wedding. I really want you at my wedding party, and I suspect you won't want to be around people asking you what happened, as if she knows what I want or don't want." Of course everyone starting going off about such a great idea and how sweet that was of her moving a special date for her just to, accommodating me. What it made me snap was what she said next, "Whenever you feel up to we could have a girls' day to get you a new dress, mine was pink made specifically to fit my growing bump." I screamed at her that she was a C-word for looking for sympathy at my expenses, that I hoped my brother and everyone else could see her for the conniving and manipulative piece of work she was. That the only girls' time I wanted to have is with my beloved girl that isn't with us anymore. All of them were stunned and she ran out crying. My brother told me to seek therapy and mom and little bro just left. This morning my husband told me that while he understood and share my grievance, I shouldn't lash out on innocent people. That she only wanted to help. So Reddit, I am the aw? You sound insanely jealous of your FSIL. I'm sorry about your miscarriage, but you are the asshole. You are the asshole. You say you're not ready to talk to your therapist yet, but you're lashing out at people who are trying to be nice. It's time to bring this up to your therapist. Please talk with your therapist. Wishing you the best. I'm sorry, but you are the asshole. Your SIL is trying to be kind, not trying to gain sympathy or be manipulative. Grief counseling can be very helpful. I hope you're able to find a therapist you connect with. I really can't imagine what you're going through. Your husband is right though, lashing out at innocent people isn't a way to resolve grief. Was yelling necessary? Couldn't you have calmly explained that she made you uncomfortable? Am I the asshole for getting mad at my fiance for getting a tattoo behind my back? Throwaway account here. First of all, I know from the title that I may seem like a control freak who needs to know everything my partner does, but please hear me out. My fiancé, 26 male, and I, 26 female, have a long-distance relationship temporarily. He originally told me about 2 months ago that he wanted to get my name tattooed on him. Personally, I don't think anyone should get someone's name tattooed on them, and I told him this, but I also explained to him that it's his body, so the choice was his, but to make sure that he thought about it because it was a permanent decision. He then proceeds to tell me that he wants to save money, so he's letting a buddy of a buddy that he barely knows do it at home. I told him that if he must get a tattoo to at least be safe about it and wait until he's able to save up and get it done by a professional in a shop because of the risk of infection, injury, etc. After talking more about it, he agreed that he'd wait and go to a professional. Fast forward to yesterday. We were talking on the phone instead of video chatting, and he's telling me that he has a surprise to show me but wants to wait until we see each other in person. The convo went on, and after me trying to guess what the surprise was, he finally admitted that he'd went ahead and gotten the tattoo from his buddy. But not only did he get my name, he'd also gotten 2 more tattoos. One on his leg, and one on his face, right under his eye. At first, I thought there was no way he'd really done that and was just telling me that to see my reaction, but as we talked more, I realized he was serious. He explained to me in detail the tattoos. I was livid. Not only did he put himself at risk by getting tattooed by an unprofessional, he put himself at an even bigger risk by getting a tattoo right under his eye. Also, he's been job searching, so now he's going to have a harder time getting a job since he's gotten a tattoo on his freaking face. I told him that maybe we should rethink our engagement because obviously we don't know each other as much as we thought we did. I told him that if he really knew me, he'd know that I hate face tattoos and find them tacky and unattractive. They scream, I make bad decisions, especially in the workplace, which he's been having a hard time getting back into already, and now it's going to be even harder. I also told him that I don't know him as well as I thought I did because he's not a man of his word. He promised me that he'd wait to go to a professional but went back on his word and did what he said he wouldn't do anyways. Of course, he told me I was overreacting and made me seem like some stuck-up BTCH who won't let him make his own decisions. Am I the asshole? P.S. I'd like to add that I'm not judging people who have tattoos. He had tattoos when we met, and even I have tattoos myself, but I've always felt that the line should be drawn at the face and personally don't like face tattoos. Not the asshole. This is a pretty measured response to your unemployed fiancé getting a face tattoo. Also, please for the love of God tell us what the tattoos were. Honestly, not the asshole. When you are in a relationship with someone, you are that person's partner. That means you bounce everything off of each other and compromise. The fact that he broke a promise to do something so immature is a bit childish. He doesn't have a job and he just made it harder to get one. He's spending money irresponsibly, and he's throwing a fit when you call him out for his bullshit like a toddler. Glad he did this before you got married up. I think you should find someone on your maturity level because it isn't this guy. Not the asshole. Info. Sorry it wasn't clear. Had you expressly said to him before you don't like face tattoos? You're not the asshole. I feel like I need to know what the other tattoos were. Obviously not the asshole. What he did was dangerous and impulsive, but I am also curious what was the thinking behind the broken heart tattoo. Seems a strange choice when engaged and seemingly happily? Like he thought I know what would work great with this tattoo of my fiance's name, a broken heart on my face.